solution that they want to help render to our overall community is temporary. Because the totality of their culture is holding the beast up. Do you see what I'm saying? But they want to slide by, and they want us to smile in their face and throw up a black power fist and say black power to them, while they got the square in one hand and the black power fist in the other. We're not. It's a lot of organizations that you can go and be a part of. A lot of entities and people you can go and be in association with that are not going to challenge you. As long as you give them some money, you can do whatever the hell you want to do. As long as you put some resources in there, it doesn't even matter. We actually challenge the individual and ask them, what the hell are you doing? It's easy for us to judge and criticize what the masses of our people are doing. But can we look at ourselves for a moment and see what we are doing, what we are being urged to do? Because we got what we project to others, and then we have urges in us that have not yet died. And those urges are being kept under control by minimal discipline. Do you hear what I'm saying? Because when you get to a maximum level of discipline, certain urges you don't even have anymore. Example, me being a vegetarian. I have zero desire for meat. Because the discipline that I call it started off as discipline though. Because I've been eating meat since I was a child. I've been a vegetarian now for almost 14 years. But as a child, I was eating meat. So these natural urges to eat meat had been cultivated over time. When I first stopped, it was discipline. Don't eat that. The desire was there every time I walked past the chicken shack. There was a desire for meat. But my discipline made me make another decision. And eventually that discipline grew. And then I became the totality of a vegetarian. I changed my nature from a carnivore to a herbivore. Do you see what I'm saying? So that must be a change genetically, biologically. You can't just change consciously. You have to change totally. Your consciousness will ultimately change your biology, where your consciousness flow through your nerve endings and send signals to your body that say, hell no, don't do that. And you actually don't do it. Until you get to that level, you have not become a biological conscious being while you may be intellectual. That's not enough. Many people know that this is wrong and that is wrong, but they don't have the discipline as a physical being on a biological level, on a molecular level. Their cells are not communicating. That's not what we do. So it takes time. Time to build that discipline. Yes, before we save the world. Before we wake up all black people on the planet. Yes, it takes time for you as an individual to cultivate the discipline, to wrestle with self constantly and daily, to totally have complete and absolute loyalty and integrity to black supremacy. That takes work daily, struggle by struggle and wrestle by wrestle. And over time, your struggles become different. Your struggles become different, and you have the struggles of someone who has progressed. The child has had trouble even shooting the ball in the hoop. But when he wins that struggle, then eventually he will have the struggle of winning a championship. Do y'all follow what I'm saying? But he had to do a struggle at a time. He couldn't just be on a championship and can't even get the ball out of his hand. So I'm saying true transformation is struggle by struggle, individual by individual. Now, depending on how much you want to do it, it's not a struggle because you have nothing else. But I got to speak to people on different levels. The more you want to do it, is the less that it is of a struggle, because you can become so convinced and so sincere and so focused to the point that there's nothing else for you to do. Then your struggle dissolves. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the struggle is when there are two things. But when you're completely, absolutely solid on that this is what you want to do, the struggle has disappeared. The struggle is a problem for those who aren't absolutely clear within their mind. The person who wants to stop smoking, when they become absolutely clear that they do not want to smoke anymore cigarettes, then they will embrace all of that they have to go through to quit. It won't even be a struggle because smoking isn't even an option. The biggest struggle is for the person who's smoking is still an option. The biggest struggle for the black supremacists and the black nationalists is when the white institutional establishment way of thinking and mindset is still an option. That's still an option for a lot of people. An option to get a job, an option to do this, an option to have these type of successes and progresses within the white man's world. That's still an option for some people. So they experience more of a struggle here. But when they kill that in their mind, absolutely, then they'll find themselves growing tremendously inside of what it is that we're doing. That's a fact. So the point I'm making is that it takes discipline. We want to help each individual achieve the level of discipline that can withstand the tactics, the strategies, the pitfalls, and the downfalls of white supremacy. That's our first job. Because even if we have not cultivated the discipline and we sneak a little further, we're not ready for the traps that lie ahead of us. If we're able to cheat some levels and jump up there, we're saving them now. We find out we're not ready. So we must grow step by step. And it takes patience. The killer has no patience. The people in our community that are fighting over madness, you owe me $5 and you still ain't paid me, have no patience. So impatience is a part of the problem. We don't want to look at the nature of the problems that we have. We don't see our own impatience. We don't see our own lack of confidence, lack of trust, lack of security within self. We turn the problems into political concepts. You see what I'm saying? Political issues. That way we cannot solve them. When it turns into a political issue, you cannot solve them without your state representative. But if you bring it back down to the personal issue, then every individual has the power within themselves to bring about the transformation that we need. So here we keep it at an individual level. Can you sacrifice the mentality of the white supremacist reality? Can you let that go? Can you experience a radical shift in your paradigm as an individual? Because if you can do it as an individual, then you can share it with another individual by your own doing and being first. If you cannot do it, then you are a con artist. You follow what I'm saying? You are sharing something with people that is not real, it's not attainable. If you can do it fully, which should be the first step, then it's real. It's real to you. And you don't have to be the best salesman in the world. Because you are leading by what? Example. This is a place where we encourage people to lead by example. Now, not by our example. Follow, because this is what the mind plays tricks on people. Say, well, you gonna be living up. We gonna live up to your example. Who are you? No, I'm talking about by your example. You know, in your highest mind, what you should not be doing based on black nationalism and black supremacy. You only being challenged by that. And if you just can deal with that, you will be so much further. We would be so much further in and of itself. Not what we want you to do when you're in the room locked by yourself. Because it's easy to prove to somebody else that I am right. It's easy to talk to others and win a battle with others. Because at the end of the battle, it's really you. How much should they really care to battle with you about you? So that's really an easy battle to win. The battle when debating with others about one's own manner of improvement. That's a fact. So my point is that when you're in the privacy of your own consciousness, and your consciousness visits you and say, look, you're doing that. You know you shouldn't be doing that. How you going to get over here to where you say you're doing if you're doing that? I'm saying if you could take that in and of itself as it relates to black nationalism and black supremacy and make the necessary changes, And if you want a radical shift in the world, in the community, then it must be a radical shift within yourself. So that means it must be an extreme change. You can't change just a little bit. I cut down to 1 cigarette a day. If you want radical change, allow the radical change, create the radical change in your own experience. If radical change is real for our community, if our community can change, that means you must be able to change, right? That means you must be able to change as an individual. If you can't change, everything you talking about, thinking, and what's doing was right, how can anybody else on the planet change?